Welcome to XYZ at KCC, a podcast featuring commentary from the generations represented by the student body here at Kirkwood Community College. I'm your host, JoEllen, and resident representative of Gen X. Here with me today are Kate, one of our Gen Z participants.
Hello.
And we have Dylan, also a Gen Z.
Hey.
And we have Maggie, our resident millennial for the day.
Hello.
And today we'll be sharing our viewpoints on various topics, each of us with different life experiences that have shaped the way we see the world and our place in it. So, first topic for today is our college experience and maybe a little bit about why we chose Kirkwood Community College. Kate, would you like to kick us off here?
I would. So I do think that I have a really unique perspective on going to college because my freshman year of college was fall of 2020. The greatest year ever to be a senior or to start college.
Oh, no kidding.
That was sarcasm. It was awful. It actually wasn't that bad because it was a nice ease into the entire experience. Honestly, it was almost like college light for the first year. In the way that, let's say you needed to go to class 3 times a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We would do only Monday, Wednesday, and classes weren't allowed to be longer than an hour. So I had 4 classes, and it was actually really manageable. By that point, the teachers have kind of gotten used to how COVID worked and how, asynchronous content was going to work. So we would do our thing for an hour in class twice a week. And then on Fridays, we would have an online assignment. And there was obviously also social distancing. So there was maybe only 10 people per class. I come from a really small high school. So having that experience where there's only a handful of people in the program and, being gently shown this is what college is was actually really helpful for me because I'm a very anxious person in new settings. So then to slowly be able to ramp up and have more and more people in class and kind of already have an idea of how things worked, it was actually a really nice experience. I also got to take big exams at home, which is the biggest cheat ever. Of course, I didn't cheat. I'm sure there were people out there who did, but I don't know. So
kind of a different feel than being in a classroom with your professor, watching your every move.
Mm-hmm. Like orientation, I didn't go to orientation in person. I did my orientation online, and but I think because there was, it was college light, there was a big push for people to be social online. So I actually did end up meeting a lot of people. It just was in a different format. So there were live Zoom, meet and greet things that they were holding and, live Zoom games to meet other freshmen. And I got to do that. But that's the other thing. If you're tired of talking to people, you just log off.
Yeah, that's
You
cool.
leave the Zoom.
Yeah. So, Dylan, you might have joined in on that kind of the same time?
Yeah, so a little bit before. I came in the fall of 2019.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's kind of funny. I signed up on the last day that you could sign up.
Wow.
I signed up and showed up next week for class.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so especially coming from a homeschool background, that was a huge transition, a little jarring at first. Actually, it was the first time I'd ever stepped on site, inside any school campus.
Wow.
So the first week was terrifying. I got the syllabus and I was like, what the is this?
What is
this?
going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah. But that semester went just fine. And then, just like you said, coming into, I think it was the spring, it was about spring break of 2020 is when they really switched over to all online. And that was a lot more relaxed. It was a lot more laid back. It was also jarring, though, because I had just gotten used to being in person in class. So the asynchronous stuff didn't work for me that semester. But
kind
since then,
of
I've
pulling the rug out from under you just to
Yeah,
your
just
footing.
kidding.
Exactly. But yeah, other than that, it's been nice.
And how about you, Maggie?
Yeah, well, I just came back to Kirkwood this previous fall semester. So I didn't really do any of that online stuff. When COVID was in full swing, you know, I was at home and working. I wasn't in school, so I can't really relate to that. But I came back and I didn't have to do like the orientation online because I had done it in person like 3 years ago. Before when I tried to come to Kirkwood. When I was around 20, I tried to come back and it wasn't for me. Recently, I think, is when they started the digital arts program. So that's why I decided to come back.
My first year was the first year of the program.
Yeah.
Getting it started. So.
Because when I came here first, there was no kind of film classes or anything. So that's why I dropped out. I was no interest in anything other than film. Yeah. So, yeah, I decided to give it another chance, and I've come back, and all of my classes have been in person. I refuse to take online classes because, like, I'm not tech savvy. You know, I'm like a little old lady in a 20-something body.
And honestly, the online format does not work for some people.
Yeah.
Like, I really struggled with the online format when I was taking a lot of online classes just because it's like, ADHD, you forget that it's there.
Right.
Because you close the laptop and you're just like, oh, I forgot that school was a thing. Like, it's very easy to do that.
It's very hard to distinguish this piece of equipment that you use for surfing and watching videos and for play, your quote playtime, and realize it's basically your only school connection now.
Yeah.
So I think that was a hard thing to deal with.
Maintaining a healthy boundary, you know, not being on it all the time, you know, getting space from it, work hours, play hours.
Yeah, and for me, a huge problem was I would go over to like my friends' houses and stay the night, and we'd stay up late, you know, because I'm like, I don't have class tomorrow, you know, I have to go to class.
You don't have anything tomorrow. It's COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I wake up and it's like noon, and I'm like, oh, I actually had a Zoom call an hour ago. I missed my entire class.
Oh, no.
You know, that happened more than a few times, so that was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually my second go around in college. I graduated in '93 from the University of Iowa with a degree in biology, and I did actually enter that field in research. But when I got married, I started having kids, and I'm like, I want to be one of those parents that is at home with their children, interacting with their children. So I stepped away from that. I was only in that career for about 7 years, and then had to step away. Didn't have to. I chose to. I wanted to. But in research like that, technology changes so fast, and so all of the skills that I had kind of like weren't exactly, you know, the top-notch technology anymore. The techniques had moved on in, 20 years. So I just decided, well, what do I want to do now? And with COVID shutting everything down and everything going digital, I'm like, well, there's definitely a need for people who know what they're doing with digital to keep things moving when we're all shut in. So I chose the digital arts program. And I love it. Yay. I love being in person. I love doing all that. I couldn't see myself anywhere else right now. I'm having a blast, and I'm meeting great new people, and most of them don't think I'm just this weird old lady. Most of them, I think I'm pretty okay. Pretty okay.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about Kirkwood is there's so many adult learners. I'm only like 25. I'm not like too far off the college age, but I still feel like it's late to begin in college. But Kirkwood doesn't really matter because there's adults of all ages here.
Kirkwood doesn't make you feel weird about it because there is a lot of, like you said, adult learners past the typical college age. JoEllen, do you want to talk about the first time that you went to college?
Oh my gosh, the first time I went to college, it was University of Iowa
in
1988.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What I would give to go to college in 1988.
Oh my gosh, tell us some party stories.
Oh, well, okay. Here I am.
Even the technology, even. Sorry, go ahead.
We might get into that later. Okay. I came from a small school. My class was like 70 people, And I went to University of Iowa. Hello, talk about throwing a little goldfish into like an ocean. Really, really different. What really helped me transition into that environment was I was part of the Hawkeye Marching Band. And so I went through what they call Hell Week, which is where everybody comes in and they're like instructed the 8-5 step and charting and making sure they're doing the high step just right and all these marching skills. And I was a piccolo player, so I had to memorize my music.
The woodwind? Is it a woodwind? I don't know. I was going to ask what you played.
Oh,
Yeah,
piccolo. Piccolo, yeah. And so it was like being, like just everybody had this same goal, so you ended up making friends. I am still friends with people from Hawkeye Marching Band after all these years. They're
is so
still
cool.
my solid friends that I keep in contact with. Ones in my classes, no, I don't have anything to do with them. I mean, it's huge.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, it's a huge environment. So I was very thankful to be in something that kind of pared it down to people with like interests. I totally get why people want to join like a sorority or fraternity just to have a smaller, tight-knit group to get through that experience. So
You guys have a trauma bond going to Hell Week
yeah,
together.
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, sweating buckets and just wanting to like collapse at the end of the day.
Raise
that kind of
those
stuff.
knees.
Yeah. We didn't get whacked or
There's
anything.
no
but,
whip, but there was a strict instructor. Do you remember your instructor
Oh, well,
or director?
Dr. Morgan Jones was the director when I joined, and he was fun, a little strange, kind of like all artsy people.
Yes.
But yeah, he was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had this thing called $5 time though for games, and if you weren't there, you had to pay. Like, to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. So
He
it's a good
wouldn't have
life.
been able to get a cent out of me.
Oh, gosh.
No
Well,
fucking
I don't
way.
know. I don't know if they actually ever did collect the money, but it was referred to as $5
I
time.
never had to pay after being late to a Zoom meeting, so
Well, that's good.
thank goodness.
Yeah, good thing for Dylan too, who missed
God
his whole
knows.
class.
Yes.
I can't even imagine, going back to your story, Dylan, coming from a homeschool environment, being thrown into traditional learning is like, wow.
Yeah.
Talk about overstimulating. Like, I can't even imagine. And then
No
just
kidding.
to have all of it ramp back down again, it was probably a little relieving, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was relieving. It was kind of like a double-edged sword, you know. It was a really little relieving, but then, you know, I let my ADD distract me, and and
feel
so
that.
yeah, I definitely went off the rails a little bit, but not bad enough. Like, it didn't affect my grade or anything. It just was like hard to keep track of things.
And with COVID, I'm sure everybody who was in learning at that time, you know, it was a struggle for even the straight A students, you know, everybody was going through it.
Yeah, my youngest daughter, she's also a student here at Kirkwood, and she started in 2020, and it was horrible for her. She doesn't have ADD or anything like that, but she just needs that in-person contact.
Right.
And it was a very hard semester for her. Second one went a little bit better, but she's very happy to be on campus, in person. It just makes the world a difference for her.
Me as well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think we're going to move on to our next topic here, and it's advances in computers over the years. So in our classroom, we kind of started a discussion on what was your first smartphone. I think that might be kind of a fun way to go through.
And what age did you
Yeah,
get
and
it
what
at?
age did you get it?
Yeah.
So should I
gosh.
start? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I
let's go
should
right
probably
ahead.
start with the whole story of my cellular experience. Okay.
Oh gosh.
As you probably heard, I graduated in 88. Yes, that's 1988. Thank you very much. And my the first cell phone I got, I kid you not, was these brick bag cell phones that Yeah, they were huge.
It came
And
with a carrying case.
they came in a carrying case, and get this, guys, there was like a magnet like antenna that you had to like cord through your door and slap it up on top of your car to get reception. So, and this was back when like a 5-minute phone conversation would probably cost you like $25.
Oh my goodness.
And we're talking the 80s, so I mean that was a lot of money. That was like a huge amount of money. So it was for emergencies only.
Yes.
I don't think I ever actually used it. My
Yeah,
parents
$25?
my parents
No, thank
paid
you.
for a minimal service, but I don't think I ever used it because I was like, they're gonna kill me if I use this thing. So
For peace of mind.
yeah, for peace of mind, really. And of course, my first car was also like a Plymouth Horizon. So it's like this little tiny car with this really big phone.
Oh my gosh.
It was really hilarious.
People get in your backseat, they're like, what is this bag?
But
It's
yeah,
taking
what
up
is this
half the
thing?
back
And
seat.
you're just like, yeah.
Oh my god. You're like, oh, that's
It's
the phone.
a cellular phone.
Yeah, it's the future.
Yeah.
And so then we went to like track phone because my parents like they were budget wise, so we got track phones. And then I think my first like actual real smartphone was long after I had graduated college, and I decided to be a kinder music instructor. And I had already started with an iPod, so I had all these apps on my iPod, and then like it was time to get this smartphone.
Whoa.
So I went with Apple.
Yeah.
And I still have the same model phone, a good old school iPhone 6S,
Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with tech when it works,
Absolutely.
So that's my first smartphone, and that was probably age
So,
35.
oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes, I'm old. Okay. Moving on. Someone else can tell their cellular story.
I got my first smartphone. Well, I don't know if I would say smartphone. It was more of a, like, you do the flip, you flip it open. Very dramatic. I loved
Texting
it
with
too. Yeah.
buttons.
Texting was free on the weekends, that whole thing, in like 3rd grade, because I had an older sibling who she was starting to be a teenager, and she had a phone, and then she got an upgrade. So hers was one of the ones that you could slide upward and reveal a keyboard. She got one of those.
Fancy.
BlackBerry.
So her old flip. It wasn't necessarily BlackBerry brand, but it was definitely the essence of a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
BlackBerry knockoff.
Yeah, it was a fake.
Of course.
And so I got a flip phone, and literally it had 3 phone numbers on it: my mom, my dad, our home phone. And I don't think I even used it. I think I used the camera on it, and the camera was garbage.
I was going to say that was probably really high quality,
Yeah,
right?
it looked like I was taking pictures on a potato. Like, it was really bad. And again, for emergencies, Dad, this is happening at school. There was like a bad thunderstorm, and we had to go into shelter at school, and I'd like text my dad or something. But the 3rd grade, very young. Very, very
that
young.
is
That's very young.
It is very young. But also,
That's too young.
yeah. You think so?
Yeah, I'll
You
throw
think
it out
so?
there.
I
Yeah.
think so too. I think so
Well,
too. I
was
didn't
also
give
a-
my kids cell phones, even a dumb cell phone,
Yeah.
until they were at an age where they had activities where the start and end time weren't necessarily known.
Yeah.
And that was the
Yeah.
only.
Like high
I
school.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
totally understand that.
They were in volleyball in junior high, so it started, 7th.
I actually probably agree with that. Honestly, well, the 2 main factors of them making that choice were, my older sister had upgraded, and it's like, what are we gonna do with this? They had already had their own phones. It was already there. It was already activated. So it's like, hey, we have this phone. Also, I was a walk home kid, so walking home. I'm pretty sure almost every day I would get a call at like 3:35 from my mom to make sure that I was walking home. And I lived maybe like 2 blocks from the school. It wasn't anything, but I was my dad's first child. And so he was very like, this is my baby and we need to do everything to keep her safe. And so helicopter dad a little bit. And so, yeah.
For safety purposes,
Of
just
course,
like my
of
parents, for
course,
safety
of course,
purposes.
for peace of mind.
Yeah, there you go. How about you, Dylan? What was your first phone?
So my first smartphone, I was probably 15 or 16, and it was like one of those like Galaxy S6s or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was a huge change because previously I'd only had a flip phone. Again, only use it in emergencies,
Yeah.
and living out in the country, you know, we didn't really go places. Homeschooled, we didn't really go places,
Yeah.
so I only ever used it when I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to the toy section."
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So it was a pretty big transition. And then I definitely noticed it more with computers, the transition of technology, because we always had that family computer sitting in the living room, right?
Us too.
Yeah.
Ours was in the basement, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Apple IIc was my first computer, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we went from that family computer, it's a big brick beast of a thing, down to these flat screen monitors. And when I first saw a flat screen monitor, I swear my life changed. I was like, oh my God, they have these?
It's not like this big old TV sitting on my desk.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I can actually get hardware that allows me to play video games on a computer.
Whoa.
Whoa. More than Flash games?
We always had like Minesweeper and like very basic games that came installed on the
Yeah.
computer, like
Solitaire.
Solitaire. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Exactly.
gosh.
Yeah, that was the most life-changing moment when I was able to play like, well, of course they didn't have like Halo at the time, but you
Yeah.
know, actual games
Like
on the
bigger
computer.
file game.
Yeah,
Right.
Minecraft.
Oh my gosh.
Yo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was the game changer.
How about you, Maggie?
Yeah. So my first smartphone, I didn't get a smartphone until I was probably like 20.
Oh goodness.
And that's because like, I never had like a cell phone, like ever. I had a cell phone in middle school for a little while. It was a flip phone and it was pink.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah, and so I had that for a while. Eventually it broke. I didn't have a phone in high school. I didn't have a phone after high school. I used my mom's cell phone all the time. It was a brick phone. Like, I used that to call for rides home from school and stuff. But yeah, then I finally got a cell phone, like, when I was an adult, and it was, like, some cheap Android type phone. I'm not even sure what kind it was. But all my phones have been Android since. I've had, like, 2 more since then, which kind of goes to show that they don't last very long. The pink flip phone lasted a very long time.
Oh, those
Longer
things
than-
Yeah.
are those things are so stinking durable.
Indestructible.
In
Yeah.
my social media marketing class, Professor Naimwala, he says, you know, back in Kenya, his brother like carries this Nokia like brick.
Brick. Yeah.
And he said, it works. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
call people.
Yeah.
And if it falls out of a 3-story building window, it still works when I pick it up.
I'm gonna walk down there. I'm gonna pick it up.
It still works. So why would I get rid of something so durable?
So,
honestly.
a funny story about that. My dad is a farmer, and he still has a flip phone to this day because the amount of phones that he has lost and nearly broken,
yeah.
but they survived because they're flip phones,
Yeah.
he ran over 3 of them
Yeah.
with a tractor.
I believe it. I
Big
believe
wheel.
it.
Lifted tires.
In dirt or on
Well, it was
cement.
they were in dirt, but one of them was on cement, I think, and it survived.
Gravel.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah. So they are durable beasts.
They are.
My first actual, I didn't talk about my first actual smartphone. In 8th grade, I got the Samsung Galaxy. Like, the first one. It wasn't
Wow.
like, now there's like 15 of them or something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was just Samsung Galaxy. That was it. The
It was
first,
the original.
The first one. And I remember the commercial for the Samsung Galaxy 2. And I remember it blowing my mind and being
Right.
like, wow, this
They're
is
making it
amazing."
even
Yes,
better?
Yes. I remember the commercial for the iPhone 3 and the fact that you could be on a phone call with somebody, put it on speaker, swipe, and then search something on the internet while you're on speakerphone with somebody on the same device. I remember watching the commercial and being like, we're living in the future. This is amazing. I need that. And yeah.
Taking your multitasking to a new level.
Yeah, seriously.
Perfect thing for your ADHD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, amazing. And
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. But yeah.
Oh gosh. It has been a great pleasure having all of you on the show today. A big thank you to Kirkwood Student Productions for hosting us in the campus studio. If you, the listener, have any ideas that you would like to hear us discuss on a future episode, email us at xyzatkcc@gmail.com with your suggestions. Thanks for listening, and we hope you will join us next time for XYZ at KCC.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.